Hello and welcome to the very first episode of So You Wanna Build an Airliner. It's alright, it's the best I can do. Anyway, so let's just discuss what we're gonna do, okay? There is already some videos out there, one by Crispy, which was excellent. It taught me a lot. And he does go into the different aspects of building a small turboprop, which was brilliant. I thought I could add to the knowledge because, building stuff for Flight Simulator. Now I'm just going to use Flight Simulator as my abbreviation because you can do this for X-Plane as well. And I'm not sure about Aerofly, but we can look this up in another time. So basically, what I want to do is something a bit more tricky. We're going to try and build an ATR. Yes, that's right, an ATR. What we are going to do is we'll start off with the visual model. So here you can see something is what we're gonna go for today is something like this. You can ignore everything you see out here on the side because we're gonna start from scratch, and you can follow along and see what you think, how it's done. Well, my technique of how it's done is you can tinker with it and figure out how you like to do things yourself. So yeah, we'll do that. What I also plan to do is now I'll show you something. This is my final year project for university, and this is the VC for a Shorts 360. So yeah, this is what I've done for now. There is actually textures and stuff done to this. Some parts of it actually has working gauges. For example, there's one here, two here, but this is the kind of level that I will take you through when we go to build the virtual cockpit for the ATR. I'm not a modeler. I don't have that artistic flair. I'm a coder. I'm a programmer, so I am. And that's what I'm studying. It's like software systems development. So I'm actually doing all the coding for this. The aim of my final year project is to create a study level simulator in a year on my own. I know. Why would I do something so crazy? So this is the kind of level we're aiming for. So yeah, if anyone can design better chairs for me, be great. Yeah, but anyway, so that's what we're gonna do. I have other things I have done. So this is the advanced turboprop. So ignore the outside. A lot of work needs to be done to that. But yeah, so we will do all these details. How things are done. We will obviously have a better tree going on here because it's confusing trying to find bits and bobs. So yeah. So once we've got, we'll do a basic representation of the VC. You can go into as much detail as you want. For timing's sakes, I will be doing it just basic, and then what we will then do. So if we minimize that for a second, and we go to Visual Studio. When it comes to the coding side of things, we will be utilizing mainly C++. So if anybody's interested in coding in C++, this is the video series that you want to check out. So if we go, I'll show you my one for my my final year project. Excuse my sniffles, I am dying of the cold. So final year project. So we've got an alpha and everything, paperwork and all that. So yes, this one here. Now you use the SDK sample to get started, but you can do it from scratch. after you've got into the swing of things, coding is easy. If say we do this and you become very proficient in the C++, because that's what it is, a mix of the two. You can program in any language, so that would be Java, C#, Python. Well, Python's a script. Well, Python, you can do any. Right, so we've got an error at the bottom. Don't worry about that. It's just because I originally started this in Visual Studio 2008, and I've now gone on to use 2015 because the university computers are using 2017. So you're going to see bits and bobs of errors lying around, but don't worry about that, because I'll just fix it myself whenever I get the chance to fix things. Right, so anyway, this is your main file, which calls all the other files. Okay, so you're including the gauges header files, and a gauge header file basically has all the variables that you need to communicate with the simulator and your aircraft, or via through SimConnect. I haven't played around with SimConnect yet, but I will do. So if we do that, so we're happy enough with that, so we can go to say the fuel. Okay, so if we go, where is it? So I got two fuels. I got fuel left and fuel right. I called that wrong at the time of typing, but they're little things that you can fix easy enough. Okay, so this is your class. This is what this is. Each of these files is called a class. I'm not going to go into much detail now. This is more of an intro about getting started, and then we'll go on to the modelling. Then we'll go on to virtual cockpit, and then we'll arrive at this stage. So it's just a little look-see at what it is we do. There is a tutorial that you can get on either flightsim.com or avsim.com. I'll include links in the description for this file. It's a tutorial of sorts. It explains in fine detail what each and every part does. So take for example the fuel here. He'll explain everything that you see. Actually, the voltmeter is from him, but we'll come back to that when we get to it. So basically, you got custom code for manipulation of the needle now. So then you tell the simulator that it needs to make a needle image, and it is based on this BMP. That is linked to a resource file, as well as, if I can find it, the header file. Yep, the header file as well. So you're defining the BMP, the texture file. The texture file can go into the shorts RC file. It's confusing to start off with, but we'll get through that. We'll work through that bit slower than we would nearly anything else. Sorry about that. That's my wife. We'll text her back in a minute. One thing I could advise on is comment anything. If it's something that you took ages to learn or to figure out, stick a comment on it. So I have this here so that I can remember the algorithm. So that would be your algorithm used to generate these numbers. Little things like that. Then you have to undefine it. This is for memory management. Now a lot of you are saying, well 64-bit now, memory's not a problem. It is. A computer does not have an indefinite amount of memory. Just like our brains, we can't remember absolutely everything. If we could, we wouldn't need computers. So so that's what we're going to do with this part when we get to it. Excuse that picture. What we're going to do is, we're not even going to start with this bit. Okay, what we need to do is we need to start off with file structures. So close that. We'll go into this video. Develop an aircraft. This is the file structure that you're going to need. Backup folder, model folder, panel folder, a reference folder, sound and texture. Those are the main folders, should we say, not files, but folders that you need to start off with. Okay, so they're quite self-explanatory. Backup, keep a backup of everything you do. You don't want to restart from scratch. With the shorts, I made a couple of mistakes because I was learning how to use Blender. I was learning how everything comes together. I made mistakes and I had backups so I could go back, especially when we come to creating UV files or UV maps. Sorry, this is where you'll put your textures on so that will show up in Sim. I caused a few problems with that. Didn't know how to fix it there and then, so I just had to use my backups. So yeah, we'll use your backups. Next is your model folder, so your MDL file and its config file goes in here, as well as your virtual cockpit model. Panel is where we will put textures, and config file goes in there. Reference we'll come to in a minute. Sound is self-explanatory, and textures are self-explanatory. Basically anything to do with the textures goes in there, even if it's I think it's the same for panel, but I'll come back to that when we get to that stage. Reference folder, basically anything that this was me coming up with ideas, basically, before we got started, or before I got started, should I say. So we don't want that. We can get rid of them. We can get rid of the trident as well, because I'm not doing that. Now, you go online, and what you want to find is a blueprint or the line drawing of the aircraft that you wish to simulate or develop, shall we say. So I'm going for the this is actually the 600 because it has the little winglets on it, but the fuselage is exactly the same as the 72 series, and then the 42 series is just shorter, basically. So you get this, and then when you've got that, you want to put it into your favorite image editor, so that'll be either Photoshop or GIMP, and you want to separate them into these views here. So that's your front, side and top, and then when you've done that, you're ready to go. Well, you're nearly ready to go, but if you wanted to just jump straight into the model, that's you ready to go. When it comes to virtual cockpit, if you can, get your hands on one of these. It's one of those poster things. So it is. Pilots use these for training purposes, okay? But it has everything that you could want. So you do the same process, separate them. Don't worry about this bit down here. That's just me being lazy. If you want to just have it just this, then by all means go ahead. Then you got your center pedestal, and it will give you the correct placement of where everything goes, and it has labels as well. Can you zoom in on this? Come back, zoom in. There we go. Yeah, so we can get. So it gives you the labels as well. Trim, blah 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 blah. Okay. FMC. I'm not sure how to do it at the moment. It's on my to-do list. So once I figure it out, we're good to go. So yeah. So and then you have your MIP, main instrument panel. Now this is for the 72 series. If you wanted to do 600, you're literally replacing everything here with big what do you call them, screens? I can't remember the name of screens at the time, but you can find pictures. I haven't found the training ones yet. I'm not willing to pay for it, to be honest with you. I'm just not. Right, so you've got your references, which is important. If you're running dual screen, it's a good idea to have pictures that are easily seen. So if I just drag this over, so I have a second screen. I was looking at how this bit is made just before I started the video, just so I know what I'm doing. And there's thousands, absolutely thousands. You even get layouts for the interior if you wanted to do an interior. So you do actually, if you look at it, that is a very good image of the engine. Let's save that. I'll save that because I could use that. See? Always good. So I just typed in ATR 72 wind images. Easy enough. Job, easy peasy. Okay, so enough chit chat. Should we get started? I'm gonna I'll just open the. Oh, I didn't even save it, did I? Well, can't complain. I'm using Blender. Okay, before we get started, if you go to Google and you search in Blender to P3D, now the latest version supports version 4, I believe. I haven't updated myself, but you know, if you don't have this, then go ahead, get it. I'm using Blender simply because it's free. No lies about it, it's free, and it's actually, some of the work I've seen that other people have used Blender. You could rival the likes of, I would say FS Labs, but everybody's not impressed with FS Labs external model systems they love. But you could rival, I don't know, PMDG for detail if you have that kind of narc or eye for detail. So get Blender. There's a download link in the description. Get Blender to P3D. I'll put that in the description as well. And we're good to go. You can pause the video at any time as well, obviously. Right, so when you load up, you'll come up with the square, the camera, and a wee lamp. If you right click on them and then hit the delete key and then enter, it'll get rid of them, so it leaves you with this, and you'll be actually in this view here. Now if you press 5, you get user orthographic view. That's the best to work in. I'll show you the difference between the views when we get to the virtual cockpit mode, and you'll understand why this is the better view. Right, so if we come over to the far right hand side, and you've got these icons here, so you've got layers, scenes, world, textures. If you click on scene, metric, which will be in meters, or you can have imperial, which if you want to work in feet. Okay, so that's the first thing that we have to do. That's just for when you're working with numbers. It's easier just to work like that than it is to eyeball it. Just beside that, there was a little plus here. If you drag that out, and you can minimize all these for now because you don't need them. Plus, it will make it easier for me to track what we're doing. You take the background images, and then click the drop down. Click add image. First thing we want to do is the front view. So if you hit front view, and then on your number pad press 1, and that'll bring your front view up. Okay, so you can zoom out, shows you 10 meters, 100 meters, kilometers. Click open, and then wherever you put your reference folder and made your individual images, so mine's front, open, and you see it's way in there, so there's our front. Okay, click the wee drop down to hide it, add a second image, and do top view. Okay, hit number 7 on your number pad, and that'll put you into top view, and then just rinse and repeat. So you want to find where your reference folder is, find top, and click open. Now, I'm stopping here because there's one important thing you have to do. This image is not facing the right way. Okay, so where you added in your image, find the rotation and just rotate it 180 degrees. Okay, so the nose facing down means it's going forward. The shorts, the very first time I did that, didn't do this. I didn't do this, and it flew backwards. It was funny to watch, so it was, but yeah. Anyway, next we want to add in another one. So you've got 3 views. If you press 3 on your number pad, it will take you to your right orthographic view. Change your all views to right. Open. Go to your folder where your references are. Find side or right if you called it right. Click open. Brilliant. Right, so that's our 3 views they're in. Okay. The next thing to do is if you go onto your browser and go to Wikipedia, you can find the aircraft you're working on, and you can get its dimensions happily and easily off that, as well as the other bits of information we need when we come to the first time we'll put this into the sim. Well, it depends on how realistic you want your aircraft. If you want it ultra realistic, find these figures, because it'll be handy, basically. Right. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. I'm terrible for being sidetracked. Okay, the ATR 72 is 27 meters long. There we go. Right. So how do I do that? Close that because you don't need it for now. Down here on the left, you got add, or you can use the shortcut Shift A, and you want to add in a cylinder. Okay, now it's a bit big, but don't worry about it. Okay, you want to rotate on the x-axis 90 degrees. Press enter, and your little cylinder is now on its side. Brilliant. Okay. You also want to extend it. Now, let's see. Just bear with me a second here. It's not Z I want to do. It's not Y, I don't think. Oh, it is. It's Y. Right. Okay. So we know that this has to be 27 meters long. So if we come over here, the transform window will open automatically once you've added in a mesh. So we come down here, dimensions, y-axis. There's y-axis, goes horizontal. So you want to do 27, enter. That's wrong. No. But it's Z. I should have knew this. 27 meters. Okay. Why is it Z? Good question. I'm not sure, but whatever. We'll work with it. All right. So that's great. We know this here is now 27 meters long. Okay. But you can't see the image behind it. How do we fix this? I don't know. Well, I do know, but I'm messing. If you hit the Z key, it'll put you into a wireframe mode. So all you can see is the individual lines. Wireframe mode. If you open up your background images, go down to the side and down to the bottom of that little drop down, there's a little size here. If you hold down the left mouse button and drag right gently, don't go mad, and just enlarge the image until it's about the same. These lines, so you want this line to meet that nose and this line to meet the tail. If it's like this, the way it's sitting right now, you can use the X and stuff to move it back just by holding down the left mouse button. Now if we do it with the Y, we can bring it like that. That's what we want. So the tail's fine, the nose is not. I don't like that, so we will need to tinker with it Just pressing the little arrows just to get roughly where you want it. It doesn't have to be exact. That's close enough. I'm happy with that. Awesome. Now, try not to move the fuselage. Actually, try not to move it because it's set at 0. Okay, that's where you want it, because when it comes to adding in contact points, that's where you're going to be trying to figure it out from. So next thing is to shape it, really, to look at like the to make it look like the actual aircraft. First things first, we want to just move the fuselage roughly to the center of the image, and then what we're going to do is we're going to start manipulating the shape of the object. Okay, one thing to note, scale, which is here, has to be 1. If it's not, the image the object it becomes flat, or it doesn't even show up in Sim. To do that, Control A, scale, and then it changes it to 1. So that's how you do that. Okay, so if you press Tab now, it will take you into edit mode. Everything's highlighted, so press A. This will give you access to individual vertices. So these are all your vertices here, the little dots. You can change to be lines or faces, all the individual faces that you can see. So like that one. Okay, you were working mainly in vertice mode. Okay, Tab to go back out, A to unselect. Okay, A to select everything, A to unselect. Right click, you can select individual objects. So try to remember that. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start manipulating this object to look like the fuselage of this aircraft. So the first thing we want to do is get the top and the bottom of the aircraft to match the image, to match the object, basically. So if you hit S, Z, so all it's going to do now is move up and down and to drag out just gently. If you go mad, it goes like that. You don't want to do that. So your image is probably not straight as well, so you've got to compensate really for that. So I would say about there. I'm happy with that. Okay, and if you look up now, we know that this length and height and width should be correct. So before we do any manipulation anymore, you want to go into top view, top view, minimize that and open your top and increase the size again until it matches roughly. Well, as best as you can get it. So about there. Move it around, because the width, the length of the aircraft is correct, because you've got it. You've got the numbers and you put it in, and then you manipulated it to match your background image. But now we can see that it's not wide enough. So it's exactly the same as last time. Except you go S, X. So now it will only move on the X-axis, and just drag it out, in and out, just till you get it to about where you want it, which I'm happy enough with just there. A to deselect. Now, number 1, we have our circle. Sorry, if you press number 1, you'll go into front view. So minimize the drop down for top, go into front, and it's just repeat. Make the image bigger, move it about until it matches the background image. Now it's not an exact fit because it kind of squeezes in here, but we'll fix that when we get to that stage, basically. But now we've got the correct size, width, and height. Press number 3 to go into your right view. Tab to go into edit mode. Now sometimes it will come up like this, sometimes it's like this. Okay, it's just because I had it deselected last time. Okay, but we want to stay not like that, we want it like that by pressing the A key. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to start squeezing the object to match the image. To do that, press Control, or hold down Control and R. You should see a little pink line in the middle of roughly the middle of the object. So left click once, it will add in vertices and drag down. Now, where you want to drag is up to you. The more you put in, the more detail you can do, but it also has an effect on frame rate at the end. So you've got to find a nice balance between the two. Okay, so I'm going to put one here and press A to deselect it because I'm not using it anymore, well, at the moment. Control R, left click and drag. A, Control R, left click, drag, left click, A. Control R, left click, drag, find where you want to put it, left click again and A. And you put in as much as you feel is necessary. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it like this. Right, this is the way I've done it. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. This one I'm not touching because it's where I need it to be anyway. So that's fine. The next bit we need to do is now the tail. Okay, so staying in wireframe mode is important because if you go into this solid view mode and press B, you're only selecting half of your vertices, and you don't want that. Okay, I've done that plenty of times, and it's a pain in the arse to fix. Okay, so B and select everything with your left. When you hold down the left mouse button, you can drag and select. Okay, now we want this to match this. So scale with the S key, Z, so you're limiting it to a vertical manipulation, and let's bring it in a bit. Left click and just move it by. Yeah, okay. I'll stick with that. And you work your way down the length of the aircraft. So S and Z, and there we go again. My mum. I should really put my phone on silent, shouldn't I? Anyway, so do that again, and just try and keep it along the line. It doesn't have to be exactly on the line, because as you zoom in, it becomes a bit pixelated. So you'll never get it perfect. So again, so B, drag, S, Z, squeeze it in. Use the little arrow to move up and down. That needs a little bit more of a squeeze. I think that. No. Oh, B. A bit more of a squeeze. Yeah, that looks a bit better. We'll see now when we get to the next one. A little bit more. Yep. I'll just rinse and repeat. And finally, the last one. And that can come in a little bit as well. Let's put a little bit more. Okay, so there we go. You have shaped one side, because you still got to do another side of your fuselage. So as you can see, it's still flat at the top, but we'll work through that bit. This is probably the part. Modeling is the time consuming, but see when you get to the coding side, that takes longer. This is actually the easiest bit. Right, so you see I just moved the whole view around. Okay, to do that, hold down left shift, hold down middle mouse button, and then drag, and then you can move your view around without moving anything. Okay, so now to do the nose cone. I hate this bit. Now, one thing I forgot to say, when you're doing loop cuts, don't start closest from the middle. Start furthest away. This is because you can't put a loop cut past another one, and you're just giving yourself more work to do. Okay, so if I do Control R, so there's our loop cut in purple. Click once to make your vertices, drag it to where you want it, and then left click again and press A. So we'll do that again. So it's Control R, left click, move your mouse to where you want the vertices to be, left click, A, and we'll do another one there, and I'll do one more about there. So that's where the fuselage straightens out. Alright, so we've got our loop cuts put in, and we're ready to shape this side of the fuselage. So scale on the Z again, bring it in, move it down. B, left hold on the mouse and select, let go, scale it on the Z axis, and move it down. Now I'm not being precise here. I'm just getting it into a more manageable size. So repeat that all the way down. Like so. Okay, I'm going to zoom in a bit more. Now you can see it's getting pixelated now, so you're not going to get perfection. So I'm just going to stretch it and move it just to get it where I roughly want it. Now if we have a look at our image, why have I got two there? I need a side view of the aircraft, preferably close. There's one here somewhere. There you go. So it kind of need that to be tighter. Oh, S and Z, like that. Which means I tinker with this. Yeah, that looks a little bit better, doesn't it? Bring that in. Do that. Alright, okay, so there we go. I have now done that side. We'll see how long that. Now I've been 38 minutes we've been working on this. We will continue on and we'll just finish off these two. And then next video we will we'll begin the tail, as well as the rudder and the ailerons. Then we'll do the wings. One thing about the wings is we've got to do, if I bring this image into focus, we've got to figure out this bit here for the wing, and then we're going to do this bit as well for where the landing gear and all the lights and stuff goes. Then we've got to do wheels, engines, and then we can do the little bits like the antenna. You can model the lights if you wanted, so I'll show you how to do that. That's the plan anyway. So right, so 40 minutes. We need to get cracking with this. Okay, so if we Go to top-down view, drag it about, decide which one we're going to work on first, which I'll do the tail. It's just habit for me. Okay, so B, and select them. Now, we're not messing with the Z-axis anymore, it's the X-axis, okay? So, bring your mouse over here, and it moves slower. So, S, X, bring it in, about there. This is probably going to be the easiest of all of them so far. So, Z and X, S and X, sorry. Bring it in. B, S, X. Now you can't see this one, so you've got to kind of eyeball it. Looks about right. And then just repeat all the way down until you get to here. Get that nice and tight. That one could come in a bit more actually, just to keep it fluid. Brilliant. Now we do the nose. So again, B to select, to do this the drop selection. S and Z. Now, if something like that happens, press escape. Don't click. Press escape, and we'll just try that again. There we go. Not sure what happened there, but will be grand. So S, X, A, B, S, X. Now you can see here, this is where the image is not straight. Okay, A. So I'm just going to use one side. X, and do that. Okay, so we now have our model. So if we press Z to bring in wireframe, to go into solid view, tab to get rid of everything. Now here, look, that's not right. See, it's not in enough. The joys of doing this, hey? It's not enough, so bring it a bit more. We'll follow the other line. The other line might be more acceptable, so let's do that. Yeah, that looks better already. There we go. Right, so Z, tab, hold down your mouse, middle mouse button to rotate around. Now, we've done this. We'll just do a little bit of a chat about something, and then we'll end it here for today. So as you can see, it's still very, you know, blocky looking. Okay, that's done on purpose. It's the way it's meant to be until we're ready to change it. But I'll show you how it's done. If you right click on your object and then come over to the right hand where this is your basically your toolbar, go to the wrench, add modifier, subdivision. See the way it's smoothed out? Now you can go as many subdivisions as you want. The more you do, the more of a strain there is on your graphics processor. I'm alright with mine, so I can do it at this level, but you don't even want it at that level. You know, 3 is ideal, and then you can use the smooth. I'm not going to do smooth now because it will smooth it, and I can't take it off smooth. So that's what we'll do when we come to that stage, but we're not at that stage yet. So click the X to bring it back to blocky view. If we go into this mode view now, so the next time we're going to do is the tail, or the tail, as well as my I have a special way of doing it for animations, because we've got to do animations as well. If we go to top view, we're also going to do the wing, as well as that funky design going on thing, majiggy. for the top of the wing as well. So yeah, that's what we're going to do next time. Until we finish that, that's us for now. If you liked what you've seen, give us a comment. Say hello. I will try to reply to all the comments I can, and throw us a like. Until next time, have a good day and a happy Halloween, because it's Halloween today, isn't it? Yeah, 31st. Happy Halloween. Anyway, cheerio.